Hi, I'm JR. I'm going to be speaking with you about three expensive financial myths. Um, the point of sharing all this is so that you can see these myths for what they are, and if they've been stopping you from taking action that benefits you, then once you see through the myths, you can see the actions to take that would benefit you and do so. These myths can block motivation as well as clarity. So let's look at these myths. I'll tell you what the three myths are real quick, and then I'll go ahead and in this first segment speak about the first myth. The first myth is that the financial crisis is confusing and complex. The second myth is that the US dollar must collapse soon. That is a myth that may not be one that's stopping you. The first and third are stopping a lot of people. The third one is that the solution is to properly reform bureaucracy. So, to focus just generally on the first and third for a moment, if the financial crisis is complex and confusing, then that means you wouldn't be able to see what there is to do. People say it's complex and confusing, so we have to have government take care of it. We have to have bureaucracies reformed. It's so complex and confusing that we have to have governments reform it. And then people say, and I know how we need to reform bureaucracy. I know the proper way to do it. Even though they say it's complex, confusing, and I don't know what to do personally. Or they act like that. They being you, perhaps. So, the financial crisis is complex and confusing. That's the first myth. So, here it is. The value of cash is simply being reevaluated. That's all that's happening. This crisis is very simple. The value of cash is simply being reevaluated. First, this is nothing new. Adults worldwide recognize that a particular currency may fluctuate in value or practical purchasing power over the course of years or decades, such as what is commonly recognized as the inflation of a particular currency. What is new is this, and this is what has been confusing for many people who do not yet understand the simplicity of it. Many currencies worldwide have recently been valued more and more by people rather than less and less, as in the case of inflation. The measure of how people value a currency is calculated from monitoring their buying and selling behavior. If people in general demonstrate in their behavior what a gallon of gasoline or a gallon of milk or a gallon of water is worth to them in terms of a particular currency, like $2 or $3 or 50 cents, whatever, that behavioral demonstration of value is called a market price. And that behavior is, of course, also demonstrating how much they value the particular currency relative to those tangible resources, the gallon of milk, water, or gasoline. When prices in a certain currency of virtually all goods and services are dropping together, like real estate's dropping, stock prices are dropping, oil, silver, milk, gasoline, and water, and also forex rates, when all of these are dropping together for a particular currency, then people are obviously valuing the currency more than they did previously. More specifically, people worldwide have lately revised their valuing of cash and raised their valuing of cash, especially relative to debt claims redeemable in cash, also known as accounts receivable, such as junk bonds, worthless second mortgages, uncollectible court judgments, and other invoices that may be valid accountings of legal obligations to pay, but claims which can be discharged, as in voided, by bankruptcy courts or just by practical determinations. a court can say it's a legitimate claim, you can try and collect it, but if you can't actually practically collect it, then how much is it worth? It's a piece of paper with ink on it. Many of those debt claims, on a case-by-case basis, are being discounted from exaggerated short-term overvaluations back toward real prospects for actually collecting cash or collateral. As more and more debt claims are recognized by accountants and everyone else to be worthless junk or otherwise worth less than the face value, the demand for cash rockets, thus increasing the value and price of cash of most every currency in the world. As debtors are less willing or able to go into more debt, and as lenders are less willing or able to extend new credit, old debt claims plummet in value. And that means all financial instruments, a stock share, a bond for a local government that's facing default or bankruptcy, invoice for a cell phone bill that says that I owe $300, but I'm about to file bankruptcy and they're not going to get a dime for it, or they're only going to get $100 or whatever. So old debt claims plummet in value, while delinquencies and reduced settlements and foreclosures and bankruptcies surge, producing a huge increase in the relative value of cash, as in the purchasing power of cash. That's already been what's happening. That's my comments on the first myth, the first expensive financial myth, which is that the financial crisis is complex and confusing. There's two more segments. If you already get how simple this is and have a sense that there are relevant actions that you can take for your own benefit, then contact me. I will help you to determine what may fit best for you, as well as to actually proceed in taking the actions that fit best for you. As a brief note, this is a time of immense opportunity. Many people do not see it. That's proportionate to how big the opportunity is how many people don't see it yet. Once they see it, once they recognize the reality of what's so right now, then more and more people will flood into those particular behaviors, meaning that demand will shift. If you get in early, you can benefit in unprecedented proportions. The profits are enormous that are available, as well as the risks are enormous that are facing many, many people right now. So there's a lot of motivation to move away from the risky behaviors and move towards, at least towards safe behaviors, if not towards actually the things of tremendous profit potential. Thank you for listening. Go ahead and click on to the next myth. Actually, if you want to skip the next one, you can. It's kind of interesting. It's the idea that the U.S. dollar must collapse soon. The third one, that the solution is to find the proper reform of bureaucracy and promote that. You may also find that interesting.